Good morning. The May 17th, 2023 meeting of the Board of Estimates is now called to order. As the board continues to meet in this hybrid format, I would ask all those online to ensure that if you are part of today's discussion, that when you're unmuted, you pronounce yourself, but you stay mute at all times. For folks who are in attendance, media or the public, as well as folks from government, if you could ensure that your electronic devices are turned off or at a minimum on silent. At this time, I will ask our amazing clerk, Ms. Celeste Amato, for any corrections, additions, and noted abstentions for today's agenda.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good morning, everyone. We have the following changes and corrections to note this morning. On page 51, item SB 2311817, MOED, Mayor's Office of Employment Development travel request for Craig Lewis. This item is being withdrawn because the item was actually previously approved on the 5/3/2023 agenda. We have the following protests to note. On page 76, item SB 2311513, Bureau of Procurement, formal rejection of all bids. Solicitation RFG 000082, snow removal services. A protest was received from Robert Fulton Dashiell, Esquire. I will also be noting that this item is being withdrawn. On page 117, SB 2311546, Department of Transportation, minor privilege permit, curbside dining schedule. A statement of opposition was received from Bikemore, and I will also be noting that this item is being deferred today. We have the following deferrals and withdrawals to note. On page 3, SB 2311748, City Council Bill 210178, tax credits, historic properties, definition of historic property. This item is being deferred until June 7th at the request of the mayor. On page 73, SB 2311509, Bureau of Procurement, payment of invoices without a valid contract. MK Analytics. This item is being deferred at the request of the Baltimore Police Department. On page 76, SB 2311513, the Bureau of Procurement, formal rejection of all bid solicitation, RFQ 000082, snow removal services. This item is being withdrawn at the request of procurement. On page 114, SB 2311657, Department of Transportation, MOU for Greater Remington Improvement Association. This item is being deferred at the request of the Department of Transportation. And on page 117, SB 2311546, Department of Transportation, minor privilege permit, curbside dining schedule. This item is being deferred at the request of the mayor. All of those items, again, just to be very clear, the deferrals are all until June 7th, 2023. We have the following items that are being moved to the non-routine agenda. On page 42 through 43, SB 23116.
I'm sorry, Madam Clerk. I don't want to interrupt you, but from the administration, the curbside, that's indefinite, right? We don't want to give it a date? We want to give it June 7th? Okay, I just want to make sure we're doing it in accordance with you guys. I'm sorry, Madam Clerk.
That's
just
okay.
want to make sure we got it right.
Nope, good to be clear. On page 42 through 43, SB 2311634, Department of Law Settlement and Agreement. On page 73, SB 2311509, Bureau of Procurement, payment of invoices without a valid contract. This is a motion for a second deferral for the board's approval. On page 79 through 80, SB 2311778, Department of Public Works, Baltimore County Fiscal Year 2024 water rate increase. And on page 117, SB 2311546, Department of Transportation, minor privilege permit, curbside dining schedule. This is also a motion for a second deferral for approval by the board. We have the following abstentions to note this morning. On page 23, SB 231162, BCHD 805 provider agreement. That was for the Honorable Mayor Brandon Scott. For the Honorable President Nick Mosby, on page 3, SB 2311748, City Council Bill 210178, tax credit for historic properties, definition of historic property. On page number 5, SB 2311799, City Council travel request. And on page 6 through 7, SB 2311762, City Council governmental charitable solicitation application for summer Fridays. The Honorable Bill Henry has the following abstentions to note. And I believe these are all travel requests, so I'm going to read through the numbers. Again, these are travel requests on page 8, SB 2311638, on page 9, SB 2311717, on page 10, SB 2311746, on page 11, SB 2311700, on page 12, SB 2311798, page 13, SB 2311788, page 14, SB 2311787, page 15, SB 2311812, page 28, SB 2311811, page 40, SB 2311654, page 41, SB 2311653, page 44, SB 2311819, page 45, SB 2311741, page 62 through 63, SB 2311797, page 69, SB 2311809, page 70, SB 2311807, page 71, SB 2311810, page 72, SB 2311806, and page 89 through 90, SB 2311647.
Madam Clerk, did you have page 5, SB 2311799?
I do not.
That should also be one that I'm abstaining on.
Would you note that number for me again?
Okay, it's SB 2311799 on page 5.
Thank you. Those are all of the abstentions for the Honorable Comptroller Bill Henry. And this morning, the designee for the city solicitor is our Deputy City Solicitor, Stephen Salisbury. His abstentions are as follows. Page 40, SB 2311654, Law Department Personnel. And page 41, SB 2311653, Law Department Personnel. And Director of Public Works, Jason Mitchell, has no abstentions to note this morning. I believe that is all I have this morning.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I do believe in hearing from the administration that SB 2311546, Department of Transportation, minor privilege permit, curbside dining, is indefinite. So we want to just make sure we say that on our record based off of the new rules. So say it again.
It's BPD.
Oh,
okay.
Which BPD item?
That's page 73, SB 23115.
It's the
MK Analytics.
Oh, yeah. That's what I
same
meant.
thing. Yes.
Yeah.
That's indefinite, not withdrawn.
No,
just-
indefinite.
So can you read that in?
I will.
Okay.
I will do that again. So we have the following, page 73, SB 2311509, Bureau of Procurement Payment Invoices Without a Valid Contract for MK Analytics. This item is being deferred indefinitely at the request of the Police Department.
Got it. We're good? All right. So, Madam Clerk, that concludes.
That now concludes.
Oh, thank you so much. At this time, I'll ask for a motion to approve and adopt the opening statement read by our clerk.
So move.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. The item is adopted. The opening statement has been adopted. I now would like to turn the board's attention to a memorandum from my office dated May 15, 2023, identifying matters to be considered as routine agenda items, together with any corrections, additions, abstentions, and no votes that have been noted by our clerk. At this point, I'll entertain a motion to approve all items contained on the routine agenda.
So move.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. The routine agenda has now been adopted. Now we're going to turn to the first item on non-routine. It can be found on pages 42 and 43, SB 2311634, Law Department. This request is to approve a settlement of a lawsuit brought by Ricardo Shaw against former Officer Maurice Ward, Officer Kenneth Ivey, and the estate of former Officer Sean Suter, as well as the Baltimore Police Department. And lastly, former Commissioner Frederick Bielfeld III. On the behalf of the Law Department, I believe we have.
It's Jim Corley should be on the. You got him.
Good morning, Mr. President and board members. Thanks for having me today. As you stated, this is a recommendation for settlement or request for approval of a settlement for a lawsuit brought by Ricardo Shaw against former officers Maurice Ward and Kenneth Ivory. the estate of former Officer Sean Suter, the Baltimore Police Department, and former Police Commissioner Bielfeld. In June of 2009, Officer Ward was surveilling a suspected drug location when he observed the plaintiff enter the location with another individual and leave just a moment later. He directed Officers Ivory and Suter to stop the plaintiff, and they caught up with him approximately 1 block later, where upon investigation, they recovered suspected cocaine from his person. Following that, he was charged with and then pled guilty to possession with intent to distribute cocaine. He served approximately 3 years in jail before he was released in 2012. Following the indictments and the convictions of the GTTF members in 2017 and 18, the state's attorney's office moved to vacate Mr. Shaw's conviction in the interest of justice and fairness based on the Officer Ward's involvement in the GTTF, not necessarily related to anything with Mr. Shaw's arrest. Based on our experience litigating the other GTTF lawsuits over the past 3 years, with the outside expense and what we know the history of the court is, the law department determined that settlement of this suit, as opposed to prolonged litigation, was in the best interest of the city and its taxpayers.
Thank you, Jim. One quick question. With former Commissioner Bielfeld, was there any implication, based off the statement you read, I didn't hear anything specific to him. Is this just because he was leader of the department at the time, or was there anything specific to implicate him in this matter?
Yes, Mr. President. There is no allegation of specific involvement as to former Commissioner Bielfeld. It was an institutional charge based on an allegation of a pattern in practice or a condemnation of known unconstitutional behavior.
Understood. Just the way the department was at the time in this particular unit that these officers were in. Thank you for that. At this time, are there any questions from members of the board? Yes, Mr. Mayor, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Mr. Connolly. Just a quick question as a matter of historical record. My understanding that in the time frame of this incident in June of 2009, that these individuals weren't even assigned to what was the Gun Trace Task Force. It was the Violent Crime Impact Section at the time. Is that correct?
That is correct. A lot of these lawsuits predate the actual creation of the official Gun Trace Task Force. They were assigned to plainclothes investigative units, but they were all the same core group of officers involved in this group of litigation.
And just another follow-up based on your explanation that you guys didn't get anything specific about this incident. We know there have been some other settlements where there were some allegations of misconduct. Can you give us a comparison of the settlements in those cases versus this one where we don't believe that there's no implication of misconduct?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. The two cases where there are really direct allegations of misconduct that came out of the GTTF were the Umar Burley and Brent Matthews settlement, which is tied directly to the recent settlement of the Shirley Johnson case for the estates of Elbert Davis and Fosa Kane. In those cases, that was where the officers had attempted to stop Mr. Burley and Matthews, which led to a car chase leading to the accident, and there were drugs planted in Burley and Matthews' car after the fact. Those are really the only two cases where there were direct allegations where there was direct evidence of something being done wrong related to the GTTF and these incidents. In these cases, the state's attorney moved to vacate because the primary evidence in these convictions was brought forward by GTTF officers, and based on their convictions and the history, it's my understanding that the state's attorney could no longer stand by on the credibility of those officers' testimony alone, and therefore, as their motion to vacate states, in the interest of justice and fairness, they moved to vacate the convictions as a matter of course. But in these cases, there were, especially in this case specifically, is the one fresh in my mind, there was no direct evidence other than testimony, what would be testimony by Mr. Shaw that he did not have CDS on his person and therefore it was planted. Obviously, the officers would testify that there was none. And in a civil case, because it would come down to a matter of credibility and going to a jury, it would be 2 to 3 years of litigation, and then it would go to a jury to decide who was more credible on the witness stand.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that very detailed explanation. I would have just simply said that you can't believe the story if the narrator's a liar. But also for the public and those watching, the reason why I asked my first question, because I think it's important for folks to know and understand in the public's eyes that this despicable actions that have been taken by these officers was happening long before something known as the Gun Trace Task Force was created. And we have to understand and know that while there are some that want to paint it in this small time frame picture, that it was going on for a long time and many, many years, including years where folks were walking around Baltimore celebrating that group. The Violent Crime Impact Section is helping us reduce violence in ways that we hadn't seen before, and now we know what was actually happening there. Thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor, for that. I think that's a great point. And all of us are faced with the reality of not only paying out on lawsuits like this, but the residual effects of the breakdown and the chasm is created between our communities and the police department, which every single person up here is desperately fighting to ensure that we bring that chasm and that trust back. But we understand and know our community are our eyes and our ears, and without the community trust in the criminal justice system, it's hard to have functioning public safety efforts. So thank you for that. I think the question that's always comes up when we're on these, obviously, you know, as a delegate, I push forward. I know that we've pushed forward on this body. But as it relates to the pension, if you could just let us know, Mr. Corley, any information you know about the folks who've been implicated in this particular measure before we vote on approving this amount. Can we just put on the record the pension situation?
Absolutely, sir. So Officer Maurice Ward, due to his conviction, he departed the department prior to his pension being eligible, so he is not receiving a pension. His contributions were returned upon his separation from the department. Officer Suter, as you are aware, was killed in the line of duty and therefore has benefits through that process. Officer Ivory retired, took an early retirement on, I believe, April 1st of this year, and is receiving a pension at a reduced rate due to leaving with an early retirement.
And Commissioner Bielfeldt?
There's no implication. I do not have information currently as to whether he's receiving a pension, but I can't answer that at this time, Mr. President, but I can provide that information to you later.
Thank you. With that, are there any additional questions or concerns? Hearing and seeing none, at this time, the board will entertain a motion.
Moved. Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes have. The item is approved. The next item on non-routine agenda can be found on page 73, SB 2311509, Office of Procurement. This request is to approve the payment of the outstanding invoices of MK Analytics for services rendered to the Baltimore Police Department. At this time, I'll turn it over to our mayor.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we defer this item.
Is a motion on the floor?
Second.
It's been is a motion on the floor for us to defer this item indefinitely, and it's been properly seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. This item will be deferred indefinitely. We'll look to bring it back up. The next item that we're going to go to in non-routine can be found on pages 79 and 78, SB 2311778, Department of Public Works. This request is to agree to new metered water and fire services rates for Baltimore County residents as proposed by Baltimore County in a communication dated May 4th, 2023. On behalf of DPW, we have
Deputy Director Richard Luna.
the floor is yours, Mr. Luna.
Thank you, Council President, honorable board members. The item before you today is, there we go. The item before you today is setting the new quarterly billing metered water rates for Baltimore County customers. This is in accordance with the Metropolitan District Act and Baltimore County codes. So under the act, the city is obligated to provide water to Baltimore County at a cost, and those revenues for the proposed rates will be used to fund Baltimore County's share of expenditures for the Baltimore City water system. So the new rates represent a 4.9% increase from the previous year. Just for comparison purposes, if you go back 2 years ago, the rate increase for county residents was at a 4.7%. So 4.7% 2 years ago, 4.9% this year. Once approved, the new rates for the county customers will go into effect starting July 1st of this year and remain in effect for fiscal year 24. Just for comparison purposes, currently the city of Baltimore has previously approved a 3-year period of covering water rate increases that was approved in June of 2022 of last year. So the increase for Baltimore City customers for metered water will be a 3% increase starting on July 1st. Just because we're talking about both city and county bills, I think it's important to note that there are differences between what appears on the county's quarterly bills versus the city's monthly bills. For instance, the infrastructure charges and sewer consumption charges that appear on the city bills do not appear on the county, and then likewise there are assessment and other charges that appear on the county bills that do not appear on the city bills. I think it's just important to provide that context for the public as this item is being approved. So with that, I'm happy to take any questions from the board at this time.
Are there any questions or concerns from the board? Hearing and seeing none, at this time we'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. This item is approved. Thank you, Deputy Director. Next up, we have our last item. It is a non-routine item, and it can be found on page 117, SB 2311546, Department of Transportation. The request to approve new curbside commercial minor privilege permit. I believe this is, there's a motion.
Yep. Mr. President, I make a motion to defer this item.
Second.
It's been moved and probably second that we defer this item. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. This item will be deferred to, I believe, June 7th, which was read earlier in the opening statement. Are there any other comments, questions, concerns? Mr. Comptroller, the floor is yours.
Just one note for the board. I had mentioned at our last meeting that we were currently between real estate officers and that our amazing clerk, Celeste Amato, was the acting real estate officer. Just wanted to take this opportunity to share with the board that I have appointed a new real estate officer, that is Eric Evans. He will be starting with the department on June 12th. He's coming over from Telesis and has been working in Baltimore real estate development for almost 20 years, beginning his career as a project manager with EBDI back in 2004.
Thank you for the update. Any additional questions, concerns, comments? Hearing and seeing none, there's no new business before this desk. The board will adjourn at this time. The next regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Estimates will occur on Wednesday, June the 7th. Baltimore, we love you.
We'll do it. We're not pitching it to BBJ.
It's now recording this. It recorded that as all you got was the fishbone.
That's fine.
Good afternoon, everyone. And welcome to the Board of Estimates bid opening for May 17th, 2023. I'm Celeste Amato. I'm the clerk to the Board of Estimates, and I am joined by my fabulous colleagues who will be helping us open, I believe, a total of 9 bids today. First, I have a few addenda to share. Please note the following changes to opening dates for Department of Transportation, TR 23009, resurfacing highways at various locations Northeast Sector 1. That bid will now be opened on June 7th, 2023. Department of Transportation, TR 23010, resurfacing highways at various locations Northwest Sector 2. That bid will now be open June 7th, 2023. Department of Transportation, TR 23011, resurfacing highways at various locations Southwest Sector 3. That bid will now be open on June 7th, 2023. And finally, Department of Transportation, TR 23012, resurfacing highways at various locations Southeast Sector 4. That bid will be open on June 7th, 2023. We also have a cancellation of a bid to note today for Department of Public Works WC 1229. This bid is being canceled. The bid was for rehabilitation of Vernon Pumping Station. Again, that bid is canceled and would presumably be reissued at some future date. Yeah. Okay. Our first bid opening today, are we ready, friends? Our first opening is for the Department of Public Works, SC 978, CCTV small diameter sewer main replacements in the Roland Park area of the Jones Falls watershed.
Okay, the first one is. Sorry, where does it say?
Should be anchor
Okay, I'm just looking for where it says that.
on one of the assignments.
See any signature pages? It'll be there too, just to confirm.
Give it this.
Okay, there it is. Okay.
This is Anchor Construction.
The first bid is from Anchor Construction Corporation.
Mhm.
It has a bid bond.
Thank you.
And the total bid, $20,712,000.
That number was 20,712,000.
Correct?
Yes.
So that was Anchor Construction Corporation for $20,712,000.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, do we have an original and one?
An original and two.
Nope. Thanks.
Okay. Our second one is from Spinello Companies, and it has a bid bond, and the total bid amount is $22,733,000.
The number was 22,733,000.00.
Yes.
Correct?
Very good. That bid was from Spinello, $22,733,000. And do we have copies?
Original and one.
This one. And was that our final bidder?
Yep.
Yes.
That was the final of two bidders for SC 978, CCTV small diameter sewer main replacements in the Roland Park area of the Jones Falls watershed. Up next for Department of Transportation, we have contract number TR 17303, Inner Harbor Intersection Improvement and Bike Pedestrian Wayfinding Signage.
Okay. This is our first bidder is P. Flanagan and Sons. The total bid amount is $1,624,999. $969. And this has a bid bond.
Okay, and that number was 1,624,969.00.
That's correct.
Yes.
And do we have copies?
Original plus one.
Thank you. And that's the last bidder.
And that was our only bidder. So that was P. Flanagan and Sons, $1,624,969 for contract number TR 17303, Inner Harbor intersection improvements and bike pedestrian wayfinding signage. Up next, Department of General Services, contract GS 21828, engine 33 electrical upgrades.
For this, we have only one bidder, and it's Glen Eld Construction. This has a bid bond. And does it have?
This one.
I don't think it has anything.
No total?
I can't seem to find it.
Audrey's looking too.
I didn't have any prices on this.
Yeah.
I guess, just read the
Okay.
name.
We don't see a total to share, so we are going to refer this to the agency for review. This bidder was Glen Eld Construction, only bid received.
Yes.
And we will refer this item to the Department of General Services for their review.
Front page,
Oh, you found it?
55,
Did you find it?
55,
Front page.
down the bottom, 50.
So notice of letting.
Come on. I'll give her that.
Okay. Oh, wait, sorry. I have the number.
Yeah, read it
Okay.
again.
Sorry about
Thanks.
that, folks. We have found the number. They're not always in the same place. That was Glen Eld Construction, and Casey is about to give me
Okay.
a total.
$395,000.
That number was 395,000.00. Yes.
Correct.
Okay. That bidder was Glen Eld Construction, $395,000, and that was for contract GS 21828, engine 33 electrical upgrades.
Yes, original plus one.
Oh, thank you. Up next, for the Bureau of Procurement, we have RFQ 000288, removal of excess logs, wood debris, and wood chips at Camp Small.
All right. We have three bidders for this. The first one is Denali Water Solutions, LLC. And it's a sum. Make sure I'm not missing anything. Yep, lump sum, $879,000.
Okay, that number was 879,000.00.
That's correct.
For this, is there?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
That bidder was Denali Water Solutions LLC for $879,000. Do we have copies?
Original plus two.
The next one is Forest Valley Tree and Turf, LLC. This is... There we are. Okay. I'm going to say that it's wrong. I'm just going to say the numbers. It's one... because now I'm thinking too much about it. 1,057,500.
I'll read that back to you.
Thank you.
1,057,500.00.
That's correct.
That bid was for Forest Valley Tree and Turf LLC, $1,057,500.
Yes, original plus one.
Okay.
All right. The last one for this bid is Northwest Recycling. lump sum. This lump sum is $695,500.
That was 695,500.00.
That's correct.
That was Northwest Recycling for $695,500.
Original plus one.
Thank you. And that was our third of 3 bidders for contract RFQ 000288, removal of excess logs, wood debris, and wood chips at Camp Small. Up next, for the Bureau of Procurement, we have contract number RFQ 000265, mowing and debris removal for vacant lots and abandoned properties.
All right. There are 5 bids for this. The first one's from Evergreen Landscape and Design Corporation. Okay. One sum here is 3,702. 3,702,000.
Yep, and I'll confirm 3,702,000.00.
Yes.
And we have an original.
Original plus two.
Plus 2.
Next
That
one.
bidder was Evergreen Landscape and Design Corp. for $3,702,000. Up next.
All right. Up next is Grassroots Landscaping. And this has there it is. And the total for this is $6,547,500.
That was 6,547,500.00.
Correct.
Original plus two.
Original plus 2. And that was Grassroots Landscaping, $6,547,500.
The next one is P2 Cleaning Services. And the total
This didn't.
is it they didn't, the other one they didn't do. And this doesn't have any total.
Seems to be referred to law.
Okay. Okay, this one does not appear to have been totaled up, so we don't have a lump sum to share, but the bidder is P2 Cleaning Services LLC, and we will be referring this bid to Law Department for review. Up next. How many copies did we have, by the way?
Original plus two.
Okay. Up next, we have Smith Enterprises and Son. And we do not have a total.
Audrey's verifying.
When you go to page one, flip it right.
Okay, we do.
I just found it.
Okay. All right, sorry, we do have a total, $6,806,775.
That number was 6,806,775.00.
Yes.
Yes, that's correct.
Original plus one. Thank you.
Okay, that bidder was Smith Enterprises and Son LLC for $6,806,775.
All right, and the last one is Sparks Quality Fence Company. Total is $7,236,000.
That was 7,236,000.00.
That's correct.
2 copies?
Original plus 2.
So that bidder was Sparks Quality Fence Company for $7,236,000. And that was our final of 5 bids for contract RFQ 000-265 mowing and debris removal for vacant lots and abandoned properties. Up next, we have for the Bureau of Procurement, RFQ 0000302, gas chromatography mass spectrometry with hydrogen gas generator, equipment, and support devices.
All right, we have 1 bidder, Agilent Technologies, and the total bid price is $196,256.86.
That was very specific.
A lot of sixes.
Yes, that was 196,256.86.
That's correct.
Do we have copies for this one?
Original plus 1.
Okay, and I think it's Agilent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Agilent Technologies, Inc., $196,256.86. And that was our only bidder for RFQ 000-302 gas chromatography mass spectrometry with hydrogen gas generator, equipment, and support devices. 1 extra credit for being able to say all of those words.
Well, you gotta do it again.
For Bureau of Procurement, we have we do have it. Bureau of Procurement RFQ 0000303. Gas chromatography, mass spectrometry. See, I can't do it this time. Spectrometry. There's a typo there. I'm trying to read the spectrometry. GCMS equipment and support devices. Again, that was RFQ 0000303. And we have
1 bidder, Agilent Technologies. And the total bid price is sorry, I'm just laughing at you saying spectrometry. $161,938.56.
So that number was 161,938.56.
That's correct.
Because I don't have that ownership, because I don't have that page.
Audrey wants to verify.
Thanks. It's not me.
Do you want me to read it back on?
Because theirs, they don't have anything.
On the copy?
Right, they don't have all this. 16938, yeah.
Okay. Do you want me to read it back?
Oh, no, you can.
Okay. So that was Agilent. I hope we're not butchering that terribly. Sorry.
Agilent,
Agilent
if you're at home, feel free to call us.
$161,938.56. That was for RFQ 0000303, gas chromatography, mass spectrometry, equipment, and support devices.
The original plus 1.
Thank you. Up next, for the Bureau of Procurement, we have RFQ 0000304, 3D imaging microscopic system.
No bids have received for this.
We have no bids for this item. That again was RFQ 0000304, 3D imaging microscopic system. There were no bids received for that item. And I believe, is that our last one? No, we have 1 more. Our final bid today is Bureau of Procurement RFQ 000192, interior painting at various city buildings. And we have the following bidders.
All right. Our first bidder is Alden Inc. And this total sum, just verify it, is $229,500.
That number was 229,500.00.
Correct.
The original plus 2.
That bidder was Alden Inc. for $229,500.
Second bidder is First Potomac ENV. Don't want to make an assumption there. And the total is $279,475.
That number was 279,475.00.
That's correct.
Original plus 2.
That bidder was First Potomac ENV, $279,475.
All right, the next bidder is JB Contracting, Inc. And the total is $244,950.
That number was 244,950.00.
That's correct.
Original plus 3.
That bidder was JB Contracting, Inc., $244,950.
And the last bid received is P2 Cleaning Services, LLC. And the total for this is $189,675.
That number was 189,675.00.
Yep. And that's an original plus 3.
Okay, that bidder was P2 Cleaning Services, LLC, $189,675. And that was the final of 4 bids for RFQ 000192, interior painting at various city buildings. And that was our last opening for today. And as there is no further business, thanks everyone for attending. Our next bid opening is on June 7th, 2023 at noon. Thank you.